Hello viewer. Welcome to HKR Trainings YouTube channel. Are you planning to start your career in Docker? Then it's time for you to watch this video. Docker is an important skill you must know if you want to get into a lucrative career. It is one of the most in-demand skills in the market right now. Currently, the salary for a professional skilled in Docker is fairly high. So through this video, let us know what is Docker? Why do we use Docker? Core components of Docker. Benefits of using Docker. But before we proceed, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Coming to the concept, Docker is an open-source containerization platform. It enables developers to package applications into containers. Therefore, when we use Docker, we no longer face issues related to the execution of the project in any environment. Why do we use Docker? What problems are solved by Docker? So, when you have developed an application in your system, and sent it for testing by the testing team, the application may not work well. Or show errors associated with dependencies, or libraries, or versions of the software used in the application development process. How can this problem be solved? In this scenario, Docker could be our life savior. We can even solve this problem even without using Docker. That is with the help of a virtual machine. But what is the difference between a Docker container and virtual machine? Which one to choose? Docker containers include binaries, libraries, and configuration files along with the application. Whereas, virtual machines run on hypervisors, which allow several virtual machines, each with its own operating system, to run on a single machine. In Docker, the containers are lightweight, since they rely on the underlying OS kernel and don't contain a guest OS for each one. While each virtual machine has its own copy of the operating system, application, and essential components, it is much bigger and uses more resources. In Docker, containers offer OS-level process isolation and resource sharing, with other containers running on the same host OS. Whereas in virtual machines, they offer hardware-level process separation and boot slowly. However, Docker is an efficient and cost-effective solution. While the cost associated with virtual machines is quite expensive. To make it simple, the Docker container will not have an OS installed or running on it, but will possess a virtual copy of the network interfaces, dependencies, libraries, and more. Docker would virtualize the operating system of the host, on which it is installed and running, rather than virtualizing the hardware components. So, core components of Docker. Docker host, the machine on which Docker is installed and deployed, is called Docker host. Docker container, and when you deploy the application on the host, it will create a logical entity to host that application. This logical entity is called as a Docker container. A Docker container is a runtime instance of an image. It enables programmers to bundle applications with all necessary components, including libraries and other dependencies. Images. Images are documents that serve as blueprints for building Docker containers. Images define the dependencies of the program as well as the processes that should run when the application is launched. Docker registry. A Docker registry is similar to an image repository. It keeps public and official images for various platforms and languages. Docker engine. Docker engine is one of the essential components of Docker. It is responsible for the overall functioning of the Docker platform. Docker Engine is a client-server-based application and is made up of three main components. The server runs a daemon called Docker daemon, which is nothing but a process. It is responsible for creating and managing Docker images, containers, networks and volumes on the Docker platform. The REST API outlines how applications can communicate with the server and gives it instructions on how to carry out its tasks. The client is a command line interface that enables users to communicate with Docker using the commands. Benefits of Docker in the software development lifecycle. Build. By Dockerizing their programs into a single or several modules, Docker enables development teams to save time, effort, and money. A build cycle can prevent the ongoing challenge of having numerous versions of dependencies that may result in issues in production by making the first effort to produce an image specifically for an application. Testing. You can separately test each containerized application using Docker without affecting other application components. By eliminating tightly connected dependencies and providing higher fault tolerance, this also makes it possible to create a secure framework. Deploy and maintain. Docker helps eliminate conflict between teams by ensuring the consistent versions of libraries and packages are utilized across the whole development process. Deploying a container that has previously been tested also prevents bugs in the build process, allowing for a smooth transition to production. This is the end of this video. From this video you have come to know about what is Docker. And for more videos subscribe our YouTube channel for trending blogs and latest updates on trending technologies. Follow us on our social media platforms and stay tuned www.hkrtrainings.com.